So this is Joy Foster, founder of TechPixies, and I am delighted to be here with Julie Kalungi, and we are talking all about earning what you're worth. This is the whole theme for the month of October. We're really going into women's stories about when they kind of discovered that they weren't earning what they were worth, and then how they changed that. So Julie and I met on LinkedIn, and she had some great videos up on LinkedIn. We have talked for a long time at TechPixies about how video is the way forwards with social media. And obviously Julie embraces this not only on her Instagram feed, but also on her LinkedIn feed. And so that's how we connected. So it's great to actually meet you on a live broadcast.
It is very exciting to meet you too, Joy. It is like we were meant to meet.
I love it when it goes like that.
Yes.
So Julie, tell everyone in the TechPixie audience what you do, because I think the stuff that you do will very much resonate with our audience.
Right. So do you know when you join this beautiful digital world and you sell a thing, but you have no idea how to go about attracting the right audience to serve them that thing? Well, I help you to build that audience, build that community, and get on with serving them and selling them a thing, because selling is a service.
Selling is a service. Yes, and that's something we really want to talk about today is, you know, and we were talking about that before we started filming, which was that idea that we often want to help people, but helping people isn't actually the way to pay the bills, right? So what you want to do is you want to help people and be able to make money too in order to pay the bills. So let's talk about selling as a service. And also, can you tell us a story that resonates with you where you were really undervaluing yourself and not getting paid what you were worth, but you didn't, you know, how did you change that situation? That's what I want to
know. Right. First of all, when I first started, I literally was thrown into the deep end, if you call it that, because I started from the last recession, 2010. I walked away from a well-paying job with a cob on my shoulder, and I thought the world owed me everything, and the world showed me exactly what it owed me: nothing, until I decided that I was worthy of what I wanted the world to give me. And so I started my business from that place. Desperation. The bank is getting very, very low on funds, and I need to still pay the bills, and I don't want to go to the supermarket and start to pick and choose what's already almost gone off date to be able to feed my family. And so I started my business from that place. And so it wasn't going very well because I myself didn't value me. I also came from a mentality of I expected a paycheck at the end of the month, but I wasn't actually doing the work that got me that paycheck. And so I was getting angrier and angrier by the day and expected people to love me. And I was attracting the energy I was spreading out into the world. It also spread to what I was selling because I created a beautiful course that I thought was great because I came from a background of an NBQ assessor in business admin. And so I packaged something very quickly and I thought, oh, people will pay maybe $40. That would be a lot of money. You know, people will pay me that and I'll get thousands and thousands of people who buy this course and that'll be good. And as we know, self-perception, it's how we see ourselves that actually determines our experience. And I didn't see myself as a successful person. I didn't see myself as a successful coach. I didn't see myself as a successful marketer. I didn't know much about digital marketing as well. So you can imagine, I came from that place and I was wanting to sell to people in the digital space. I didn't have a community as well. One of the basic foundations of building a successful business is having that community or knowing somebody who has that community. So I charged $40 for, I had poured myself into this program. I had created 8 modules. I had created bonuses galore, and I charged $40. And the day I launched it, I got one sale.
I love it.
Yeah,
I
one
love it.
sale.
There's so much about this story that I love, though. I can let's just unpack the beginning of this story, which is you started a business out of desperation.
Yes.
You had a chip on your shoulder. You felt that the world owed you something,
Mm.
and then you also thought, well, I'll get a paycheck at the end of the month, like not fully understanding that in order to get your paycheck for your own company, you've got to actually bring in revenue, right? I mean, and I think this happens to a lot of people. I think a lot of people do that. They have an idea. And here's what I also love too. So you had this idea, you had all this experience, you thought I'll put it into a course and I'll go sell the course. And you didn't understand the value of community yet. You didn't understand the value of digital marketing yet. You just had this product and you knew you wanted to help people. And I also love that you thought $40 was a lot of money, right?
Yes.
And you thought, I'm going to make this so good and it's going to be, and then when you sold it, you had one sale. So I thank you for that story. It's so honest. And I think it happens to so many women when they set themselves up, as a business owner, they're all ready to go. And then it's like, oh, I got to actually sell something in order to pay myself. Yeah. And then not fully understanding how you can leverage social media or, digital marketing in order to do that. So once you had that one, so were you proud of yourself though, that at least you had the one sale, or were you just totally disappointed?
Oh, you should have seen me dancing. I was dancing. I could have been on the rooftop. I was like, somebody vote. I called my son. I called my daughter. I said, look, somebody vote. $40. We've got $40. We made $40. And then I waited for the deluge of more sales. I was like, more are coming in. If one person can buy, more are coming in. And I waited. And a week passed by, and a month passed by, and I started getting mad again. But by that time, I had a coach. So I went back to her because I'd invested in learning how to create courses and sell courses. So I went back to her and I was like, I don't know what I did wrong. I don't know why people are not buying this course. Every day I talk about it on Facebook. Every day I post on Facebook. Every day I'm posting my course, but people are not buying it. And she sat me down and said, I'm sorry, but your product is as good as your next purchase. If no one is buying, it means it's not as good as you think it is, number one. Number two, you have a big, huge gap in your sales process and you need to find it. And I was like, okay. And he said, number three, it's you. That was the hard one. I said, what do you mean it's me? Like, I've created the course, so it's not me. So it's people. And she said, until you own that, you will not make any money.
Wow. Wow.
That it's you. Somehow, somewhere, you don't believe you deserve even someone paying you $40. And why the heck are you charging us that whole beautiful thing $40? And I'm like, yeah, $40, like I'm kind of doubling my last hourly rate.
And how many hours had you poured into it? That's like 20,000 hours later and you're charging $40. I love it.
$40. And now, she goes, you're going to have to change the whole packaging. The packaging is wrong. The marketing is wrong. The mindset is wrong. Now I'm thinking, oh, why didn't you tell me these things before? And she looks at me like, lady, you got to pay to play. You want me to go take you through that? We got to have a whole different conversation.
You knew there was a problem. I want to just, first of all, though, I want to celebrate your win. I want to celebrate the fact that when you had that first sale, you got excited, because I think it's really important that people do celebrate things as they do them. Like, even though it didn't work out the way you wanted to, you launched a product, you sold a product, one person bought it. I think that's like amazing. And I actually think, even in my own experience where, I remember when we launched our course online and I was like, I want 100 people in the course. And then I had 6 people sign up for the first go. And but see, I wasn't as good as you. I actually really struggled because I had this huge goal of 100 and we had 6 women. And actually, to be honest, it was 100% the way it was supposed to go. It was the lesson I needed to learn. They were the most incredible 6 women, and it was a very intimate environment, which then when we got to 100 women, I didn't have that intimacy anymore. But it was really interesting because I wish I had the dancing attitude where I didn't understand the small wins at that point. I didn't understand the value of the small wins. I wish I had danced around my kitchen going, oh my gosh, I just made a sale, blah, 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 blah. And I can do that now. I can look back on it now and go, wow, that was actually really special what I did. But what at the time, I really struggled. So I think it's really important. The second you said you were jumping up and down, I thought this woman is going to make it, because as if you can celebrate every little piece of progress along the way, you're going to feel successful the whole way through. Now, I love that you said that it wore off and the sales didn't come in. So then you had, what did you do? You went and got help. And I love that. And this is what we talk about a lot at TechPixies is it's not, you can't do this stuff alone. I mean, you can, but it's a very lonely game if you play it that way.
It is.
So how did you find your coach? How did you connect with your coach?
On Facebook.
On Facebook. Very good. I love it.
At the time, I used to pick up everything, and I mean everything. If I found it on Google and it was going for, I think $40 was literally in my mind, that was a lot of money. I'd buy anything that was $10, $20, $40, $50. And he was selling 49 ways to get your target client. Now, download it. It's an audio, and you can also download the PDF, blah, blah, blah. And I downloaded it. And right inside the video was, if you really, really, really want to get these people to buy from you, you need to buy this. So he upsold me, and I call it upserving these days.
Upserving. I love that. Not upselling.
Until I bought his $1,500 product, and that for me was a huge shift. I sat down with my husband and I come and look at this stuff. Maybe these Americans, they might be scamming me,
Yeah, right? Those Americans, gosh, we scam you.
We Brits think everything that's from America is big, huge, and a lot of hustle and bustle and we'd been scammed out of 5,000 pounds.
So you had a scam issue online.
Had a scam issue from a high yield investment program where we're told invest $5,000 and in 3 months you'll have $1,500, just like that. Plus your investment.
We all know that's not true.
We didn't. We were like, what? That is great. We invested it, and 3 weeks later, we didn't know where the company disappeared off to. So I was a little bit less excited to invest. And even telling him I was going to put 1,500 pounds into a coach, and he looked at me and said, listen, you went to school and got a law degree. And I said, yeah. How much did that cost your mom? What's that got to do with this guy selling me a course? He said, education is not cheap, but you need to find the right teacher. So if you think this is the right teacher, sign the check. And I said, I don't know if it's the right teacher.
Oh, I love that story. First of all, I love the story that your husband was supportive. I mean, I think that's really important. I think it's important that people around you are supportive. I always say, don't ask for permission, ask for, support, really. It's not about saying, can I do this? It's about saying, this is what I really want to do, getting them on board. So was he the right teacher, or did you go find someone else?
He was the right teacher.
So tell me how you knew he was the right coach.
I found a lot more of his content online, I found a lot more of his videos on, so he hadn't just popped up like a pop-up, these pop-ups like pop up on the street and disappear the next day. He had a ton load of videos on YouTube, like about 3 years worth of content. I thought, oh, he's been around for a while. I found his blog, and he talked about where he came from and where he was, and that story touched me so much. And I reached out to him personally. So it took a week actually before I finally signed that check, because I reached out to him and I said, if he answers me, he's the right man.
Mm-hmm.
And so I reached out to him and I explained where I was coming from, and I said, I've just been scammed, blah, blah, blah. I hope you're not.
I hope you're not a scammer. I love it.
And he answered. He actually answered and said, if you can call, this is my number. We can talk.
Did he answer and say, I'm not a scammer?
Yeah, he said, if you want to talk to me and you want to know that I'm human, not some website or something you've seen online, you can call me on this number. So we went and got VoIP, something put on credit and called, and he picked up. And he said, so you have been scammed, have you? And I said, yeah, I've been scammed by Americans.
I love it. Scammed by the Americans.
And he goes, you were not scammed by Americans. You were scammed by somebody who claimed to be from America. They could be from anywhere.
There we go. Change the
And
dialogue.
he said, and until you try, you can never know. And he said, by the way, congratulations on even stepping out and trying to invest in yourself. Yeah. We have lost a lot. Everyone who's succeeded has lost. They don't talk about the losses because then people would not really look up to them. But you have made a big loss. Now you need to dust off, step up, and step into the playing field again.
Dust off and step up. I love that. Yeah.
And I'm happy to help you.
Yeah.
And he said, if you come into my class, there is no excuses. You own it. You own it all. The shit and the cake. You own everything.
You own it. You own it all. Yeah.
If you don't even sign that check. And I'm saying, everyone's telling me to sign checks. Something's telling me to sign that check. So I said, do you take installments? And he goes, absolutely. Absolutely. So I signed the check anyway, long story short, and he's still my coach.
So you dusted off, you got back up, and you realized that charging $40 wasn't enough. So how did you make that transition, and what do you charge now?
It took me a while to actually believe that I could charge a lot more, because even when I repackaged the course, I raised it to $197. I still didn't think, and I thought that was a fortune. And I did not in my mind think I'd paid somebody over $1,500 based on all the things. I literally kept buying upsell to upsell until to that point. And so I still didn't think that I could charge that. Now the course is charged at $497 because I scaled it way back, repackaged it, and then it's literally like an entry point into something else that I charge a whole lot more for. In fact, I charge a monthly figure for that, as opposed to a one-off. So it's like a master club and things like that. But it took me a whole 18 months before my next sale. Like from that one sale, 18 months passed before anyone else bought that product I was selling.
And do you think that 18 months, do you think that the majority of the work you had to do was internal rather than on the product?
Absolutely. It was all shadow work. It was self-perception. It's the way I looked at myself. It's the way I showed up. I had to change me in order to show up better and attract the person who was willing to pay me what I was asking them to pay me, and not as a payment to me, but as an investment in themselves.
I love that.
It took a while.
Yeah. And then once you had made that shift, is that when things started really going the right direction for you?
Exactly. That's when I started meeting me every day. I believe I meet me every day, the me I choose to meet. If I choose to meet a grumpy um, person who doesn't want to invest in themselves, it's because there's a part of me that woke up as that person that day, or a few days ago, maybe I was talking about that person and I raised that energy, and so that person showed up in my energetic space. And so I believe I connect with the people I'm meant to connect with based on the energy I bring to the table, way before I come to that table, because that table is already prepared for us with abundance, and we can either choose to eat the crumbs off of the floor, or we can sit at the table and enjoy the abundance.
That's really powerful, really, really powerful. I love everything about that. I was just talking to someone last week about gardens. Yeah, I love how you just described the table of abundance and the scraps on the floor. And we were talking about with gardens, it's very similar. You know, if you don't water them, if you don't weed them, you know, if you don't take the bad stuff out, the bad stuff overgrows it, and then the garden's gone. And so, you know, it's those analogies are so important for people. And that one was very powerful for me, that you just talked about with the table of abundance, that the table's already set. It's just waiting for you to actually sit up at the table.
It is there.
I love that.
I love what you're saying about gardens, because I always tell people the seed is already there. The seed is the seed. It is what it is. You are the gardener.
Well, and the crazy thing about a seed, right? I mean, I'm just now starting to, I've been a failed gardener for a very long time. And I now have a friend who teaches a course on how to set up a kitchen garden, which I'm working through at the moment.
Wow.
And it's great. It's great. It's a wonderful course. But one of the interesting things that, you know, you learn in gardening is, you know, you plant the seed and you see nothing for quite a long time sometimes. And then suddenly you see something, and then something else. And then, you know, you can turn around and the whole plant's there. And I think that's the beauty of, you know, of this whole process is what you can't see that you were working on was the inside of your brain to get yourself in alignment with who you needed to be in order to help someone else properly. But that change, you can't see that. That's all inside the head. It's all of the work that you do internally to then say, you know, my product is worth, you know, my product is worthy. I am worthy. You know, and but it takes time. Those things don't happen overnight. But they also, you could very easily kind of go, nothing's coming out of the ground, so I'm gonna scrap it, right? And not get to the finish line. So when you were stepping into this new identity and this new person who believed that your product was worth $497 and not, you know, $40, that's huge change, right? So what are some of the things that you told yourself? What are some of the, how did you overcome that gap in, you know, what you felt you were worth?
Right. So first of all, there's a book I love to read as a book of philosophy, as opposed to a book of religion. It's called the Bible. I am very spiritual. I am not religious. So there's certain things that I wake up and I just open it, and I will read where my eye goes.
What's the book called?
The Bible.
Oh, the Bible. I love that book. I'm a big fan.
Whoa, welcome.
I thought that's what you said, but then I was like, wait, did I miss something?
And one of the things that I read said you have to die unto yourself in order to discover yourself. And I'm like, this one today's am I going to die today? And in my mind, a flower literally grew out of the ground into a full blooming plant. And I thought, that's a weird vision. And I said, no, hang on. You just asked that question and you just got an answer. That flower, before it came out of the ground, was not a flower. What was it? Either a seed or a cutting. So it died unto itself as a seed in order to come out as a plant and a flower, a full-blown shrub that gives people joy or shelter or just something to look at. Either way, it had to die unto itself. You too could be that flower. Like, that is a big one. Wake up, woman, and do what that plant just did. So one of the things I learned to do was ask questions. Ask questions. It took a while for the questions to start delivering answers because I started by asking the wrong questions, including asking my coach the wrong questions, and he'd always say, "That's the wrong question to ask." So, and I'd be like, "Yeah, whatever." But he kept saying, "What do you really want to know?" When you know what the
Ask
question
better
is.
questions, right? Like I have a mentor that says your life is only as good as your questions are.
Questions are precisely. And so I kept asking the wrong questions. Why me? Why aren't I? Why aren't they? Why is this happening to me? And they said life is not happening to you. It's happening for you. And you are creating that energy around you. And you are bringing into your physical life what you're thinking about in like supersonic speed. So whatever you're seeing, you are bringing into your life. So do you want to change that picture? Like you really need to change that picture because it really is standing in your way. You want answers, but you're asking the wrong questions, and then you keep seeing you in that place over and over again, and you keep getting the same results over and over again, and you really need to change that because I want to celebrate you. And until you celebrate you, I cannot celebrate you because you celebrate you and others do what you do. You teach others how to treat you. And if you think people are going to pay you $40, they won't even pay you the $40 because you don't even believe you deserve that $40. So will you start to believe in you and what you're doing? And I shared within the vision, and he said, "Oh my God, you're a prophet, are you?" And I said, "You get out of here. I'm not a prophet." He said, see, you have just dismissed me without thinking about what you are, because you are. We all prophesy into our lives what we should see and what we want to see, and we call it affirming or affirming. So every morning you wake up, what do you see? And what do you speak into your life? There are 3 steps that you need to do. You need to say it, you need to speak it, and then you walk towards it, taking action towards what you think it is that you have seen. Now, if you keep dismissing what you see in your words, you're never going to see it in your physical life.
Yeah, I think that's so true. If you're not creating it, if you can't see it, as in, you can't create it in words and in like a vision board, and if you can't create that, you're never going to be able to make it happen because it's not on your radar. You need to give your brain the ability to have it on its radar. I love the verse you mentioned. So do you know it's die unto yourself, but do you know the actual place?
I'll give you the verse because I have it written
give us the verse.
And the other one is the one that we all know: lack of vision, our people perish. If you can't see it, you're gonna die without seeing your dream, and that's the saddest thing, because we lack the vision, so we don't get to see the beautiful lives we want to lead.
Yeah, I just saw that one. That's a Proverbs one. Yeah.
So
well, the one that I love, which has been my 2020 verse, is Romans 12:2, and it says, "Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind." And my entire year this year has
renewing of the mind.
Renewing of the mind. And and it's interesting because I've always been someone who's gone to church and but I've not. These are verses that I'm starting to see in a different light. But it says, "Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, His good, pleasing, and perfect will." And I think but I think that renewing of the mind, it is actually something that we're being called to do. We are being called to renew this mind, to die unto ourselves, to become a new person, to lean into a new vision.
Oh yes. Yeah. And we are creators, and we are told that in Psalms 86, verse 2. 82 verse 6, one of them. I'll give it to you. But it says we are gods. We are gods. And we keep saying we are birds. I'm a lioness. I am I am a dog. Don't even come near me. And I'm like, no, you're a god. Because you're a child of a god. And when people in quantum physics say you're part of that consciousness, and you are definitely, I mean, goats don't beget lions, they beget goats. And so if we believe in our Father who is God, we are definitely gods.
Yeah, I think that's so interesting. This the concept of the combined consciousness, and also tapping in, really tapping in. I think this is the thing that I've probably discovered in the last year, and really mostly because where I've struggled with, what's my vision, who am I, what's my identity, who do I want to be. As I've asked myself these questions, you have to like kind of answer them if you want to move forwards, right? And they're not easy to answer. But the crazy thing is if you can really go deep inside, and you can really kind of, you've got all these skills, all these talents, all of these different life experiences that when you really tap into them, and you really say, what do I enjoy doing? What do I love doing? What lights me up? What makes me happy? And you lean into that, the direction becomes much more clear. And, and you kind of, and you allow that path to start unfolding in front of you, and you allow yourself to go there. And I think that's what's really important, is to actually go there and say, if I could do what I wanted in life, what would that look like? And I think they don't ask themselves that question.
Yes. You have to go there every morning. You have to go there, as you say, every morning. You have to go there and see yourself there. Today, who needs me to step up? And where are they? Like, what has that conversation been like? It's already been happening. It has happened. Everything that you want is under the sun. It already exists. So have that conversation already. And then
and I love
go have it.
I loved what you said as well, that transformation from selling you to actually your students realizing that they weren't buying you, they were buying transformation for themselves.
Yeah.
They were investing in themselves. So let's just talk about that in terms of how you shift the focus from you as, I'm selling this product, or I am the person, to actually the product that I sell is going to enhance this person's life when they invest in it. How do you make that shift?
Because I learned to invest in me. I learned to fill my cup first. There is no way I could fill anyone's cup if mine was empty. And it had been empty for a long time, because I believed other people were responsible for my success, were responsible for my joy, were responsible for my growth, were responsible for everything else. It wasn't about me, it was about them. And until I looked to fill me first, so I could fill others, I could not do it. And that was part of the journey, and it continues to be, because when you empty your cup, you have to fill it again. And so every so often, you take time out to refill that cup. You take time out to invest in you. You take time out to find that somebody who's where you want to go, and go and sit at their feet and learn from them, so you can get to where they are, or even more. Because sometimes the student surpasses the teacher. I have students who have surpassed me way, 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 way beyond. And the other thing that I have learned is everyone is in a different place in their journey. Now, when you go into that place, before you wake up and get out of your bedroom and come to serve people in the normal place you serve people, you ask who you're going to serve and see that scenario. It's like you have a movie in your mind, what you're going to do that day and how you're going to serve people. And then you call them into your experience. You call them into your energetic physical space, because they are existing in the universe. They are praying, they are fasting, they are tithing to meet you. You are the solution, and you hold the solution to their problem. And so if you don't step up your game, if you don't invest in yourself, if you don't learn what you need to learn to show up for this person, they are not going to get where they need to go, because you are playing small.
Julie, I love what you just said there, because that just gave me such flashbacks to, I've told the story a lot at TechPixies, where I took on investors, and I had this idea that if I moved the course online, it would, really grow, and we would serve more women across the UK. And we are doing that, exactly that now. But 6 months in, after I'd taken the first bit of investment, I did not know what I was doing. I mean, I know your story so well. I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't know how to sell a product online. But what you just said was so interesting, because you know what I did? I prayed like a crazy woman. I mean, I was praying every day. I need a solution. I need help. I need the right person in my life to show me how to do this. And the crazy thing is I got this email, and it was from Stu McLaren, and he said, if you want to learn how to build, market, and sell a course online, you got to go learn from Amy Porterfield. And I was just, and
I love her.
I know, I love her too. And he said, and tonight's the last night. And I kid you not, I went to bed and I woke up, and because I thought I can't invest in something. This is what I thought. I thought there's no way I can invest in something like 2 minutes after I hear about it, right? You know, even as good as she possibly is. I mean, maybe it's not, you know, and I didn't know her at all. I didn't know anything about her. I hadn't been following her. And I woke up the next morning and I opened up my phone, and it literally was like 5 minutes, because it was on California Pacific time and I was on British time. So I had like 5 minutes to sign up. And I was just like, do I, don't I, do I, don't? But for me, it was huge. It was, in many ways, it was it was kind of the last amount of money I had at the time. And I just thought it was, you know, it was a huge stretch. And anyway, I signed up, I went all in on it, and it transformed, you know. And in fact, I have a lot of students now who do DCA through me, Digital Course Academy, through me as a partner. But I will tell you that I was praying for an answer. I was literally praying for an answer. And what you just said about that someone is out there praying for you. They, you know, they want an answer. They want to return to work. They want to change careers. They want to start a business. They want to move forward in their life. And if you've got the solution and you're not out there selling and serving, you're leaving them unhelped. And that's
a sin. That is what sinning is. Holding on to those gifts when you're supposed to unwrap it and share it, and you're holding on to it and saying, who wants to know me? Who wants to hear from me? What will they say about me? What are they going to think about me? Blah, blah, blah. Strip yourself of all that, and you'll see your amazing self showing up and sharing the value. And the person meant to get that value will absolutely not hesitate to pay. Like, I look for this guy and I'm like, is he real? Is he who I'm looking for? Sign that check. They will not hesitate. I was ready to sign the check the day I met him, but I had to do my due diligence. The human mind had to come in, and it's discernment, isn't it? Make sure you are investing. I've invested in several other coaches since, but he was my first one.
Yeah, no, Amy was my first coach that I invested in, and I've invested in several others as well. And I never hesitate actually to invest in coaching, because it's transformative. And you know, and like you said, I love the way that your coach spoke to you and really you know, helped you to see that.
And by the way, his name is Ray Higdon.
What's his name?
Ray Higdon.
Ray Higdon. There we go. So big shout out to Ray and big shout out to Amy. I mean, I think what they did for us was basically they were our first major investments. We both went through that experience, you know, where we wanted to do something, we couldn't do it. And then we found someone who knew how to do it. So we invested in them and we got results. And, you know, but we also showed up. You know, I would imagine, you know, just from talking to you in this conversation, you know, you did the work. You know, you showed up for the coaching sessions. You got the tough love. I mean, you already shared some of your tough love today. So you got the tough love. You did the hard work. And, you know, and then that's where the results started coming through for you. So how long have you been in business now?
8 years.
8 years. That's a big deal.
It is a big deal, because I came from that place where you go to the supermarket and you look for the cheapest brand, and you tell your children, don't pick that up. We can't afford it. We can't afford it. That word, that phrase, and a lot of people still use it. That's expensive.
Yeah, you got to get rid of that phrase.
Get rid of those things completely from your vocabulary, because that's where you stay. And it took listening to amazing coaches and amazing resources like Joy Foster and the TechPixies to grow, to change who I was, to die unto myself. So this amazing woman who keeps transforming into a better version every day is, and that's how it's meant to be. We are meant to evolve every day. I keep laughing every time I read on social media people saying YOLO, and I'm like, yeah. No. You die once. Absolutely. But every day you are living is a different day. You live multitudes of times, but you die once. That's for sure.
Yeah, I love that. This is so good. Well, Julie, I so appreciate the time you've given us. Now this whole series is earning what you're worth. So we've gotten so many great nuggets out of here. Do you have a couple, like, just some parting advice for women who are still saying, I can't afford that?
Oh,
What do you, what's your parting advice? How do you stop saying I can't afford that? And what do you start telling yourself?
right. I can't afford that is a statement that it stems from lack. It stems from poverty. Poverty is a spiritual disease, and only you can strip yourself and cure yourself of it. And it is very important to see yourself as the queen you are, as the king, prince, princess, you name it what you are, without getting all burdened down with the human meaning of what that is. As a child of the Most High, you are a princess and a prince, and therefore you're a god in your own right. And when you step up, you're showing up as you so others can be served. And so you're not better than them. They're not better than you. You're just you showing up in a way that can serve them if they so choose to be served. And so it's very important that you understand your worth and that you put the right price on it. I told you I had very many stories. One of the stories was we keep growing and we keep evolving, because even though I've done all that work, in 2018 I started the mastermind, which where I was going to show up every day and teach something every day, and I charged it at £10 per month. Now, even when you take off the processor fees, you don't even get $10 per month, but you're going to pour into somebody whatever you're going to pour into them. I promoted it in, I was targeting the African colored people market, mompreneurs, startups. And they had the exact attitude one of the ladies that I shared it with gave me. She said, what could you possibly teach me for $10 that's going to be worthy? And that statement took me back to the conversation my husband had. How much did your conversation cost? Did your education cost? Like, you are just investing in your education. And so she told me, I will not buy your course because you're not valuing you. And I love this girl. She's called Violet Karamaji. And so I'm giving her a shout out even right now. She said, I cannot buy your course because either you're not going to give us anything that is worth taking, or you yourself are not valuing yourself. And I think you deserve so much more.
Wow.
So we have to know that we are worthy of more, and that there are people out there who are willing to actually invest in themselves with us. We're walking the same direction. We're showing them the path. We're lighting the way for them. And if we don't light up the beacon, we can't light anyone's path. And in order to light up the beacon, we have to be ready to be paid what we are worth. Every morning is an invitation to arise and brighten someone's day. How can you do that if your light is off?
Yeah.
So we have to invest in ourselves, and then we have to be ready to charge what we are worth. And we have to remember, every successful athlete, entrepreneur, teacher, even when we look at the corporate space, every successful person in that space has invested in their personal development and in their growth. And so if you are looking to grow, you definitely pick up the TechPixies course. You want to grow in the social media space, you pick up the course. You want somebody to do the work for you, you pick up KWeb Social and they help you do the work. Either way, you get somebody who knows what they are doing to help you.
Yeah, and I think that just parting lesson about investing in yourself, I think part of the problem for a lot of women is that when they work for someone else, they don't get invested in. So I know when I worked for several different companies, no one invested in my training. And actually, I remember asking for, can I go to this conference? Can I do this? Can I learn this? Can I? And they would just say, no, we don't have the budget for it, right? They would say, we don't have the budget for it. We don't have. And that's when I had to say, right, this is in my hands. I have to own my future. I have to go and learn this stuff on my own, and I'm going to have to pay for it too, because, no one else is going to pay for it. And, and I even remember the very first business course I did in Oxford. And it wasn't cheap for, the amount of revenue that my company was making at the time. And I remember having a conversation with my husband about it and saying, well, it's 500 pounds for me to do. And then if my business partner does it, I got to pay 250 pounds for him. And he just said to me, well, you can learn all that on YouTube for free. And I said, well, maybe, but it'll be painful. And I got to sift through all the videos. And I said, but actually the whole point in doing this is the person teaching this course has set up a successful business. And so you're getting all of that knowledge, all of that firsthand knowledge. And then I said to him, I said, actually, I'm not really asking you. I'm kind of telling you because I'm paying for it out of the business account anyway. It's not coming out of our personal account, and it's money I've made, and I'm taking the money I've made and reinvesting in myself so I can charge more, so that I can. And it was on that course that I learned how to build in margins and, how to be able to hire people to work for me so I didn't have to do everything myself, because you can't do everything yourself. And so it was very, very interesting to kind of experience that and just kind of put my foot down and say, well, actually, I earned this money. And I actually think that if I invest this money, I'm going to be able to earn more money, and it was worth it. But you have to be a strong, you have to be strong in yourself to say that. And I think where it's tricky with women who maybe haven't been earning is how they say, I need this to start earning, and that's the conversation. They have to really believe that this is going to be the thing that's going to, whatever it is, investing in TechPixies or a different course, investing in that course is going to be what starts earning them money, that they can earn that money back. And we have
the thing is, our parents invest in us for 20 years plus, right? They invest in us with no expectation of a return on that investment for themselves. They are literally passing the baton on to us once we graduate college or decide not to go to college, whichever the decision is. But once we get to that place where we're saying we're adults and we're looking after ourselves, the baton is passed to us. And for most of us, we put the baton away in a drawer, and we refuse to invest in our further education.
Yeah, we don't take that on ourselves.
No. And the default setting is learn from somebody and take a lesson forward. We stop the lesson and we start telling our children, you have to go to school, get a good education, and you'll get a good job. And that narrative is starting to really wear thin, especially in the digital and artificial intelligence revolution. There's more and more signs that now more people have to be more creative about what they do in order to bring in an income. And so if we're telling our children to go to school, get good grades, and get a good job, they are challenging us on that narrative, because universities are spitting out tonloads of graduates, and they are ending up on KFC, and they're not very excited, because they have been told, they've been given the wrong tools, to be honest. And many are still hanging on to the hard work pays narrative as well.
Well, and that's a narrative. Just like the narrative of we can't afford that, the narrative of hard work pays also, because and I love that someone said, if it was true that everyone who worked hard made a bunch of money, then
my grandma would be a trillionaire. We come from pedigree of people who worked hard, and they didn't pass on generational wealth to us because they didn't make it through the hard work. So how can we tell the same to our children?
You have to work differently. And guess what? It changes here. It changes in the mind. What a pleasure, Julie. This has been wonderful to talk to you. What a powerful hour. Thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and many blessings to you. And gosh, thanks for your time.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Joy. I absolutely appreciate it. God bless you.